Hi there, it's Hamid for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Ted Lasso, Season 3, Episode 8. We still have Paris. Now, I've said in the past that this show does feel like a family show. I do know there are scenes which are quite saucy, and I also know that when it comes to some of the language in these shows, in these episodes, they're quite harsh. R-rated for sure. Effing and jeffing, you name it. But what I've heard from certain people now, interviewers who recently interviewed Jason Sudeikis, I hope I'm pronouncing him correctly, Ted Lasso himself, they're all saying that they watched this show with their family. It's quite incredible. So I felt like I was on the right track regarding how I felt about the show, and it's good to know that other people are seeing it the same way I do. Anyways, in this episode, we do follow Keeley around for a fair bit, and I have to say that this character is becoming probably my favorite character in the show. She's had a lot of disappointment with relationships in her life during these last three seasons. First with Jamie, then with Roy, and now with Jack. I mean, we're talking about two very different looking but very hot women making out at the beginning of the episode. I fucking loved it. But during the course of their relationship, as it pans out during this episode, we start to see some cracks. First of all, um, Keeley has like a sort of not sex tape, but like a masturbation tape she once did. I think for Jamie when she was going out with him, and it somehow leaked on the internet, and everybody's seeing it. Now she's a bit upset that it's been leaked. I mean, she doesn't regret the actions, but she is upset that her private material has been shown to the world. I mean, she's even mentioned it that she's shown her tits off in the past, so she has no problem with her people seeing her naked. She's just upset that certain stuff that wasn't supposed to be for the public has gone to the public. Nevertheless, Jack thinks it's a good idea for her to maybe create some sort of public apology, and this is where we see the sort of like indifferences between these two, because Keeley doesn't want to apologize for this. She actually doesn't think it's bad what she's done. She's more pissed off that somebody stole her stuff and leaked it, and that's what she's pissed off about. Nevertheless, Jack, being an upper class princess from a posh family, since this sort of stuff is kind of vile. I mean, she herself doesn't even let other people know that her and Keeley are an item. Jack bumps into some friends while they're playing mini golf, and when she introduces Keeley to her friends, she just says, "This is my friend Keeley," and not her girlfriend. So this is you can kind of gives you an idea of how Jack feels about Keeley, in the public eye. And because of those sort of cracks appearing, and by the end of this episode, we don't know where the relationship is going to kind of go between Jack and Keeley. I mean, it could end after this, and unfortunately, that seems to be a common thread with relationships in Ted Lasso. They don't really tend to last too long, especially for someone like Keeley, but she goes through a lot. And I have to say that the character of Keeley is a very endearing character. She's very likable. She's a very beautiful girl. She's a very friendly girl. She's a helpful girl. She's a nice girl. Sometimes wags can come across as a bit artificial and a bit selfish, but Keeley doesn't come across like that. She seems like somebody who wants to constantly challenge herself, improve herself, better herself, while still being a good person at the same time. And yeah, she's just very, very likable. She's definitely my favorite character. I love the girl to bits. On to Ted Lasso now. He is just finding it very hard regarding moving on from his ex-wife, and that's something that he's been having to go through for a while now. But things take a turn for the worse for Ted, because he now believes that his ex-wife will be proposed to when she and her boyfriend goes to Paris. Now he's been asked to look after his son, which is something he wants to do. He loves his son. He loves spending time with his son. Any time he can get with his son, he wants to spend it with him. But at the same time, on the back of his mind, he knows that his wife and her boyfriend, his ex-wife, sorry, and his boyfriend are going to Paris, and because Paris is the city of love, a lot of proposals happen in Paris. He believes that her boyfriend's going to propose to him, and he just can't shake that off. He has his diamond dog woo 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 sort of thing going on with his lads, but they tell him to kind of like just get over it. And then when it comes to having a chat with Rebecca about this, who's also hired a private investigator for Ted to look over all this matter while she's in Paris, she also gives some home truths to Ted by saying, listen, you need to forget about this. You need to move on from this. This chapter of your life is over. She's left you. She's now going to move on to somebody else. You need to focus on your son. That's what really matters right now. And there's some fantastic words. And the relationship he does have with his son is very nice. You could tell that, Ted Lasso's son has no ill thoughts of his father. He looks up to him. His dad's a Premier League football manager. He loves his dad to bits. And there's some nice moments there as well, because Ted Lasso almost feels like he's going to be replaced as a dad by his ex-wife's new boyfriend, but that doesn't seem to be the case, because at one point when Lasso's ex-wife's boyfriend tries to fist pump Ted Lasso's son, he totally ignores him. And it just gives us a confirmation that Ted Lasso will always be this kid's initial father figure, because he is the father. And that makes me very happy, and I'm sure it made everyone else very happy when they saw that moment too. Now, we also have Nate Shelley and his new relationship with the girl from the Greek restaurant. I've forgotten her name. I don't know how long that's going to last, because as I said earlier, relationships in this show, they don't tend to go too well. But he did try to do his own version of the Diamond Dogs called the Love Hounds with his own backroom staff, but that didn't pan out too well. So at this particular point, the grass was greener at Richmond regarding, like the camaraderie that was there, and it's a camaraderie that he doesn't seem to have with the people he's working with at West Ham, especially the owner of West Ham. He just hasn't got that kinship with him, unlike Rebecca, who is very friendly with a lot of the people who work at Richmond, from the players to the regular staff. And Rupert isn't. So now, other things that we kind of touched upon in this episode too was Colin. Once word went around about Keeley's photos being leaked, the players took it upon themselves to delete all their personal photographs and stuff like that. And at one point, one of Colin's teammates, I forgot his name, he looks at Colin's phone and he sees something, obviously, that Colin wouldn't want other people to see. As we all know, Colin is gay, so he probably saw something that might confirm that Colin's gay on his phone, and so this particular football player knows about it now. And it's just something that is starting to come out more and more to everybody else within Richmond. More and more people are finding out, and we'll see how that pans out in the future. It's little not droplets, trippets, or what, I can't think of the words, but little drizzles of information coming out regarding that, and eventually I think everyone will find out, and I'm sure majority of the players won't care. There might be some bigger, amongst the squad who would have an issue with a gay man in the changing rooms as he's changing, even though it doesn't matter, but nevertheless, they might have an issue over shit like that. So we'll see how it all pans out. It's very interesting. I'm enjoying the show very much. Fantastic episode again. The stuff with Keeley is just great. Good to see Ted Lasso, to a degree, get a win in this episode. And by the way, regarding wins, the team of Richmond is doing really well at the moment. They're back on winning ways, which is also nice. So we can focus on the other things, not just the football this time round. Because before, with the team constantly losing, the football did play a major issue, and it should do. But at the same time, when they are winning, we can then focus on the characters' personal issues, which is just as interesting too. I love the show. It's so fucking great. I'm going to give Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 8 a big fat 10 out of 10. This show can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. It's one of the best things on the internet right now when it comes to streaming services. Without doubt, the best comedy show at the moment. And it doesn't even feel that much of a comedy. It's just a heartwarming tale about camaraderie, friendships, relationships, all of these things. Let me know what you think of this particular episode, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe on YouTube and TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, look for us on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, look for us on TikTok. We're on both. Take care now. Bye bye.